Hey folks, Reviewing McReviewface coming back at you. And if the last episode of the Tamworth tastings made you say, oh dear, don't worry. This one will say to you, buck up. That's right, so we are into the fourth and final installment of the Tamworth Distilling Tastings. We are here with the last of the 4 alcohols that Lisa and Jai, thank you so much for sending from the United States here to Canada. Again, if you're interested in how to ship alcohol from the United States up to Alberta, make sure you click the link here to see my experience of importing alcohol. But today it is the 4th and final of the liquors to taste, and that is the Deerslayer. So this whiskey here is flavored with cranberries, porcini mushrooms, juniper berries, green peppercorns, and hand-chopped red deer venison from a local New Hampshire farm. Not only is red deer a place here in Alberta, which in some way or another connects 3 of these 4 alcohols with some aspect of this reviewer and his Canadian heritage, but it is also one of the largest deer, the one that was widely distributed throughout Europe and then imported to places like Australia and Canada. So they use locally sourced venison from New Hampshire to flavor this unique whiskey. And again, this is one of those whiskeys along with the Eau de Musc flavored with beaver castor that really catches people's attention, and they say, venison in a whiskey, that sounds terrible. To which I would say, well, do you enjoy whiskey with a steak? Whiskey and meat play together so nicely, I can't see why it wouldn't work to actually mix them in the flavoring process. So we're going to give this a try and see how Deerslayer venison flavored whiskey works out. Again, we've got a little label here. So they have sourced their red deer venison from a local farm, hand-chopped the meat and tossed it in with everything else, giving the meat's delectable gaminess, and then slow-smoked everything over a mix of seasoned branches from New Hampshire's boreal forests. Savory and smoky notes characterize this one-of-a-kind spirit with subtle spice on the palate and a lingering finish. Again, I do have to say, the branding for Tamworth is so on point, so beautifully done. And really, can you expect anything less from the man who helped to bring Hendrick's gin and Sailor Jerry Rum into the world? This is a man who understands branding, and this is a beautiful little bottle. Again, 99 proof, but you're still looking at about $60 US for this one small bottle, about 200 milliliters. So again, I'm going to pour just a little bit because, again, I will have to make these whiskeys last a very long time. A nice, rich color. And again, worth noting that Tamworth, rather than importing their clear spirits and adding their flavors, they do all of their clear spirit distilling themselves. So this is everything from the local New Hampshire area, the waters, the distilled spirits, the deer meat, the herbs, the branches that they use to set a fire to smoke this all over. It's 100% New Hampshire, which is a really neat thing to see, that kind of small, localized product. Let's give it a try, the Deerslayer. Cheers. First, a whiff. I've given up on smelling the corks, by the way. I don't get as heavy of a smoke as I do, say, with like a peated whiskey from Scotland, like a Laphroaig or something like that. It just has a nice scent to it, but nothing overly, I don't get a gamey smell. I think the scent isn't the carrier of all of the uniqueness here. It's definitely in the flavor, so let's give it a taste. There's a little something floating in my glass. I'm not sure. I think that may be just a little bit of the wax seal around the top got in there, because I don't see any other sediment in the bottle. So something to keep an eye on, those wax seals. Make sure you don't get too much wax in your whiskey. Cheers. Got our wax out. A little bit, yeah, definitely a spicier whiskey. If you're comparing it to the Eau de Musc, this one definitely has a little bit more punch to it, a little more burn to it. more of an overall mouth, you know, that good whiskey tingle. You definitely get that a little bit more here. Does it taste like venison? No. And unfortunately, I don't have any venison on hand to taste that against. I have had venison before. I think properly prepared, it's quite a nice meat. If you're not used to gaminess, it is something that can take a little getting used to. But well done. Well, it's well done. It's like anything. If you do it properly, then it'll taste great. It's kind of like the corpse flour from this previous video that, you know, Tamworth did a good job of dealing with the durian fruit. Whereas if you just eat it freeze-dried from a local T&T supermarket, you might want to never taste anything ever again. I would love to be able to tell you that I'm detecting a gaminess and a smokiness and a, you know, the umami of the mushroom. What I'm really getting is just a nice, solid whiskey. There's a little something in the fullness of it, and you could describe it as the essence of chewing meat. So I don't know if that's the mushroom there or if that's the venison, but there is something substantial on the back end that almost makes you want to chew. But it's not, that could be my imagination too. That could be me really getting into the branding and imagining a venison-ish, there's a word for you, of, you know, an essence of venison in there. A more sophisticated palate than mine might be able to pick it up. I'm getting some sweetness, some spiciness, a very slight touch of smoke, but a very easy drinking whiskey. This is something that would go lovely with meat or sitting beside a nice roaring fire or perhaps with a cigar. It's something that is easily drinkable, which is unfortunate when you only get 200 milliliters of it, because this is the type of whiskey that brought out among friends could probably be gone within a few hours. It is nice, I think, is the best way to put it. There's nothing overpoweringly different here, just subtle little things in the background that kind of make you pause and say, this is different, but I don't know how. It is something I think when I have hunting friends over, I may pour them a little taste and see if they can sense the thrill of the hunt within it. But even Bambi lovers, I think, would find something that they could enjoy with the Deerslayer. It is, once again, executed with a delicate hand, making overall a very nice whiskey with a very interesting story. And I think that's what it comes down to with Tamworth Distilling, from my experience, is they have produced a series of very nice tasting alcohols with very interesting and fun stories, but they don't beat you over the head with the flavor. They've executed them in a way that is subtle and nuanced and delicious. And to that I say, cheers. If you have the opportunity, if you find yourself in the New Hampshire area or in the Philadelphia area, these are carried at Art of the Age in Philadelphia. I would highly encourage you, if you are the sort who might want to venture out and spend $65 on a tiny little bottle of whiskey, this is worth the investment, if for nothing more than the story it provides and the beautiful flavor, subtle and sophisticated as it is, that brings you along for the ride. That being said, are these going to be my go-to whiskeys on the everyday? They will not. At the price point, they are just a little too pricey for me to be breaking out for absolutely no reason. I've got a nice bottle of $65 Laphroaig, Canadian $65, that I can have at a moment's notice and replenish quite easily. These are going to be very difficult to refill, and so I will be saving them for special occasions. But you know what? It's lovely to be able to experience something from so far away something that really has been quite unique, and it's been a pleasure to give them all a taste. Again, thanks so much to Lisa and Jai in New York for arranging to get these 4 different and unique alcohols out to me here in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Really do appreciate all of the work that you did to get them here, so thank you so much. Much appreciated, and I will make sure to save at least a little sip for when you come back up for a visit. To the rest of you, thanks so much for watching. Again, if you are in the New Hampshire or Philadelphia area and would like to try them for yourself, I'll put a link to the Tamworth Distilling down below. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you click that subscribe button. This is the end of the Tamworth series, but there's always something new coming up on the Reviewy McReviewface channel because, as always, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just telling you my review. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next review.